Hello students, so today we'll discuss a very important issue that happened just recently in the last week, the state visit of Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Madam Sheikh Hasina. Now, over the last few years, if there is one country with which we have had great ties, in fact, our ties have kept on, improving, then that has to be Bangladesh. Now, right from the start, in 1971, you all know when this country got its independence, then it was we who helped them, Indira Gandhi, and you can see here Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And today, after almost 46 years of its independence, you can see his daughter Sheikh Hasina with our present Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi. Now you can gauge the importance of this visit from the fact that when she came last week from April 7th to April 10th, it was none other than our Prime Minister who personally went to receive her at the airport. Now this is something that usually you don't see as far as diplomacy is concerned, but when you do such things, it shows the importance of this South Asian neighbor for us. It shows that from last 7 years, from 2010 till 2017, already there have been 4 exchanges of visits from heads of the government from both the sides. So this shows that there is a lot of importance being given to the ties of India and Bangladesh. Now, why is it being given so much importance? And specifically in this class, what we will be doing is we will be seeing everything from the perspective of this particular visit, that 3 days visit that Madam did in India, and what were the outcomes, what were the exact things that came out of that. At the same time, what we'll see is why did certain things didn't happen. For earlier static portion, you can always revisit our link that we are providing as of now, and for the visit that happened now, you can watch this entire video. So moving to the content that we'll be doing in this lecture, will show how the relations between these two countries have been fraternal. We'll see the 2 most important things that were, one from our side, we wanted something with regards to defense. On the other side, we'll see Bangladesh wanted with regards to water issues that these 2 countries are having. For that, they had come. Apart from that, there were certain things that happened with regards to connectivity between these 2 countries. We'll also see what all things were signed with regards to trade and investment. We'll at the same time see what are the issues that Bangladesh is having with regards to this. Then we'll see the certain agreements that were signed between these 2 countries with regards to the power sector. And finally, we'll see what are the efforts that are being made from the side of both these governments to have better people-to-people contacts. Now, before we start, let it be very clear that these 2 relations are a relation that is having an upward curve. This relationship between these 2 countries is having an upward curve, nothing else. So now why do we say it to be a fraternal relationship? You have to understand that this relationship comes out because of the history that these 2 countries share. Right from the beginning of Bangladesh history, if there has been a country that has stood with it, it is India. At the same time, this relationship is not only because of history, but also because of the unique geography that these 2 countries share. Our eastern neighbor from the side of Bengal and our western neighbor from the side of northeastern states. This country, Bangladesh, is very important for us. At the same time, for Bangladesh, India being only one of their 2 neighbors apart from Myanmar, both these countries share a very, very important relations. Now, suddenly, because of these factors, our government has given a lot of priority to Bangladesh. It has given it topmost foreign policy agenda. We all know what happened in 1971. We know that how in 1971, a genocide happened where the agents of Pakistan almost, tried to make Bangladesh deprive of its all the intelligence share. It made Bangladesh people suffer. How, entire generation of children being born out of the incidents like rape happened, and how the people were, targeted. Numbers vary from 3 lakhs to 3 millions, and till date, the wounds haven't healed as far as this 1971 genocide that happened in Bangladesh is concerned. Now, India at that point of time was with them. We helped them to gain independence from the brutalities and atrocities that were being committed by Pakistan at that point of time. At the same time, we understood that this country, Bangladesh, which in 1971 was part of Pakistan, was a part of India just 24 years ago. Both these countries, Bangladesh and India, shared a long history, shared a common culture. Even when Bangladesh became a part of Pakistan, their culture was much more closer to India than Pakistan. Similarly, their language was much more closer to the language that was spoken by our people. Then these two countries shared common ideas of secularism. These two countries shared the common ideas of democracy. And there are countless other commonalities between these two countries. Now, to show that these relations, this partnership between these two countries is not merely a strategic partnership, but it's way beyond that. It's on the lines of equality and trust. And that's why when this year, almost after this 46 years of Bangladesh's independence, when Madam Hasina had come to India, she and her government recognized the services made by 1,661 Indian Armed Forces personnel who had let their lives down in 1971. We made a huge sacrifice. Now, Madam Hasina personally handed over citations and crest to the next of kin of 7 Indian officers who had let down their lives in this war, the liberation war of Bangladesh. At the same time, both these prime ministers from our side and their side presided over the ceremony in Manekshaw Center in New Delhi to honor all those Indian martyrs who had fought alongside Bangladeshis Mukti Bahinis in that war. And to celebrate that thing, they remembered and they made special scheme, a medical scheme for 100 Mukti Jodhas of Bangladesh who will be provided medical treatment in Indian hospitals every year. Also, our Prime Minister extended Mukti Jodha scholarship for 10,000 IAS of Mukti Jodhas for next 5 years. So from our side, we gave this scheme for those people who had fought in that war from Bangladesh side. Their Prime Minister recognized the important role that we had played in that by remembering those people who let down their lives. At the same time, both of these governments remembered the great contribution of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the architect of present-day Bangladesh, having the Hindi translation of the book Unfinished Memos, which was written by him. So overall, if you look, both these countries have had some good, excellent ties, and right from the time that these two countries just a few years ago were able to sign the land boundary agreement, ratified that, and solve this long-standing issue, these relations have kept on improving. Now, when Madam Hasina was coming to this part, our country, there were certain expectations from her from our side, and the expectations weren't much bigger than to have some sort of agreement with regards to defense. Now, we wanted to have a stronger defense cooperation with Bangladesh. And that's why we signed an MOU on defense cooperation framework. Now, in this visit of hers, 22 MOUs were signed. We'll see many of them. One of the most important ones was with regards to the defense cooperation framework. Both these countries have had participated jointly when it came to the Great Liberation War. And both these countries understand that there has to be a deeper defense cooperation which will turn beneficial for both of them. Last year, our defense minister had gone to Bangladesh in November, and that was the first ever visit by our defense minister to Bangladesh in almost 45 years. So you can understand we are giving a lot of emphasis as far as defense is concerned. Now, under this, we also gave them a line of credit. An MOU was signed to give them a line of credit of 500 million US dollars. Now, here there is something that we need to understand. See, we want defense cooperation through greater military to military training and exchanges. All those things are true. But at the same time, here India is slightly perturbed with the fact that Bangladesh has a defense cooperation agreement with China. And China is the country which supplies them most of their military hardwares. And in fact, they are their largest military hardware supplier. And last year, when President Xi Jinping had visited Dhaka, he had signed almost 27 deals that amounted almost about $25 billion. And many of them was related to the defense. Now, in 2015, this visit happened. Now, Bangladesh for so long has been, having those small arms and weapons that are made from military hardware that is provided them from China. Now, India wanted some sort of an umbrella agreement with regards to defense so that they buy some Indian military hardware and thus become less dependent on China. And that's why we wanted some sort of agreement. For that also, we gave them this line of credit. And through this, we wanted to enter their defense market. Thus, we wanted to, cut down this whole China's share over there. But the thing is, there was some sort of, opposition back home in Bangladesh where people didn't want to go for such a framework with India, thinking it will be again a de facto place where India versus China would be played out. But again, as I said, in the last few years, Sheikh Hasina Wajid has done a lot for India. And again, she didn't disappoint us with regards to this also. She signed it. Apart from this, 2 small MOUs were signed with regards to Defense Services Staff College in Wellington, India, and Defense Services Command and Staff College, Dhaka, for enhancing cooperation in the field of strategic and operational studies. And then there was another MOU between National Defense College, Dhaka, and National Defense College, New Delhi, for enhancing cooperation in the field of national security, development, and strategic studies. So, 4 MOUs with regards to defense. These 2 are most important. You can forget this. Apart from this, both these prime ministers also complimented the armed forces for joint search and rescue operations that they have been carrying out in Bay of Bengal that led to the rescue of large number of fishermen from both sides, and the recent initiatives to enhance cooperation in the field of HADR activities. That is humanitarian assistance and disaster relief activities. Now, you know that Bangladesh, being a low-lying country, keeps on suffering from issues of natural disasters like sea level rise, then even cyclones, and for that both these countries have been coordinating much more closely. So these were certain agreements and these were certain points with regards to defense. So overall, what we had expected from their side, they fulfilled it. Now, they also had some expectations from our side, and that was with regards to water issue. Now, you would have heard a lot about this. Now, presently, both these countries have almost 54 common streams, with a few of them being very important. And one of them, the most important for Bangladesh as of now, is Tista, a 309 kilometers long river which originates from Sikkim and via West Bengal, especially the northern parts of West Bengal, reaches Bangladesh. Now, as far as the water issue between these two countries are concerned, for that, both these prime ministers and both these parties said that there is a need to conclude the interim agreement on sharing of water of Tista as agreed upon by both governments in 2011. Now, just to tell you about this, in 2011, then government of Mr. Manmohan Singh and again Sheikh Hasina Wajid only, these two governments had decided that they would be sharing the waters of Tista on 50-50 basis. Now, unfortunately, at that point of time, because of the internal politics and because of the fact that the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Madam Mamata Banerjee, opposed this agreement, this whole thing was put on hold. And from there on, for the last 6 years, this has been dragging on. Already we concluded the land boundary agreement, which was one of the other bigger issues. And apart from that, there was another issue that was Tista, but it is still lying. Now the thing was, this time our Prime Minister said to her, that to Madam Sheikh Hasina Wajid, that come what may, we will resolve it. And this issue of Tista would be resolved by their governments, by the government of Mr. Modi and by the government of Madam Sheikh Hasina Wajid. Now, as far as agreements with regards to water is concerned, both these countries already in 1972 had signed a joint river commission. Now, for water management, it was done then only to have all the disputes with regards to any river. And I already mentioned we have about 54 common rivers. But unfortunately, in the last 45 years of its formation, if there has been any pact with regards to any river, it has been for only one, that was with regards to Ganges in 1996. Apart from that, there hasn't ever been any other, resolution with regards to rivers. In 83, we had some sort of ad hoc water sharing agreement with regards for Tista also, wherein we said that there would be allocation of 39% of water to India, 36% of water to Bangladesh, and later on in 11, we said that this would be 50-50. But unfortunately, till date, it hasn't been signed. Now, as I said earlier, our Prime Minister made it quite clear this time that taking into account all the stakeholders in India, we will go on for an early conclusion of this agreement. We all know in polity that water is a state issue. Now, to solve it, either we have to take the state government on board, or else the present NDA government will have to transfer this subject from state list to concurrent list, and for that they need an amendment that would require 2/3 majority in both the houses of parliament. So it's to be seen whether it can be done or not in that form, but better would be that we take on the state government on board. Now here, after having the meetings, Madam Mamata Banerjee came out with another proposal. She said that instead of Tista, why not other rivers like Torsa and other rivers be explored as alternatives? Now, this was something that, nobody would have thought of earlier. But later on, this alternative solution that was given by Madam Mamata Banerjee was put down, wasn't agreed by the Prime Minister. And finally, this didn't become the thing because they want some sort of agreement with regards to Teesta. Now here, both the country's Prime Ministers also directed the concerned officials to conclude meanwhile discussions on various aspects relating to sharing of waters of the rivers like Feni, Manu, Muhri, Khoavi, Gumti, Dharla, Duntkumar. There are so many small streams that pass through these regions. And our prime ministers have said that why don't we keep on having discussion? In fact, a few years ago, there was a proposal by Water Secretary of Bangladesh where they had proposed why don't both these countries go for joint management of all these rivers which pass from these two countries. But as of now, it hasn't been yet agreed upon. Now we have to understand here that Bangladesh is a lower riparian state which is always worried about the fact that it may have to face some sort of scarcity of water because of overuse or any other mechanizations by the upper riparian state. Now, whatever be the whole final conclusion of this, we need to ensure that we give some sort of good agreement to Madam Sheikh Hasina because she has done a lot for us. You'll see later on also with regards to terrorism, with regards to insurgency, with regards to land boundary, with regards to trade, she has kept on helping us. And if we don't do this, as it would become very tough for her to convince her domestic audience, why did she give so many leeways as far as India was concerned? Now, both the prime ministers also appreciated the positive steps taken in respect of Bangladesh's proposal for jointly developing Ganges barrage on river Padma in Bangladesh. So already Bangladesh has been trying to say that we should go for this joint management, and they are doing it with Ganges also. And as I said earlier, there are so many other issues. For example, issues say on Barak River in northeast, especially with Tipaimukh hydroelectricity project. And Bangladesh is again worried with regards to that also, that if we build dam on this, on River Barak, it may affect their seasonal rhythm of the rivers, ultimately affecting agriculture, fisheries, etc. So whatever be the fact, as far as water issue is concerned, being a lower riparian state, Bangladesh has a lot of worries with regards to that. And India being, a country which needs to solve that, because again, we cannot let the relations which have been so good for last few years to deteriorate on matters of only water. Apart from that, there was another issue with regards to connectivity. There were a lot of agreements with regards to connectivity. And here there has been effort to build connectivity in waters, on land, and in the skies. Now, both these governments understand that when there would be more people-to-people contact through more connectivity, it will promote tourism, it will promote investment, as well as it will promote India, which has only connection to northeast through the very small area that we call as Siliguri corridor or Chicken's Neck. For us, these connectivities would make it very easier for connection with the northeast, and it will ultimately lead to growth in northeast too. So both these PMs wanted that there should be more connections with regards to that. And that's why you will see that there were a lot of agreements that were signed with regards to connectivity. Now, for example, development of fairway from Sirajganj to Daikova and Ashuganj to Zakiganj on Indo-Bangladesh protocol route. So already with regards to waters, how to have waterways, they are having this. Then both these countries re-established their railway lines also, and linkages which had been stopped for last so many years were restored. And for that, Bangladesh requested a new rail link from Panchgarh to Siliguri in Bengal. Apart from that, already Kolkata Dhaka Matri Express, there was efforts to increase its frequency introduce fully air-conditioned service on this sector, and end-to-end customs and immigration clearances once the international railway terminus established at Chitpur, Kolkata by this year, August month. So, with regards to railways, this was another proposal from both the sides, and it was welcomed by both the sides that this full-fledged service should start. Apart from that, newly restored railway link between Radhikapur in India and Birol in Bangladesh, which will facilitate cargo movement between the two countries, was also inaugurated by the Prime Ministers of both these countries. Then proposal for a new railway link between Akhora and Agartala by end of 2018, thus connecting our northeast to Bangladesh. Trial run of passenger train between Khulna and Kolkata was also done, and most probably the full-fledged operation of this will happen from this year, July 2017 onwards. And finally, not only rail but even bus services were launched between Kolkata, Khulna and Dhaka. Already so many other bus services are active from earlier times also, which are running from Aizwal, Guwahati and etc. But a new bus service between Kolkata, Khulna and Dhaka was also suggested and launched. And finally, commencement of transshipment of goods through Ashuganj River Port under the Protocol on Inland Water Transit and Trade, PIWTT, was also looked into. And here both these countries suggested that not only these, but we should include more ports as far as this framework is concerned. There was that this Ashuganj Inland Container Port, which will be established here, should be constructed as soon as possible. So expedition of this construction was asked. Now, apart from that, both these countries understand that if there is good relations has to be sustained, trade and investment has to be given a lot of priority. And that's why they signed a few deals with regards to this also. Already agreed that whatever be the numbers, there is a great scope for improvement here too. And for this, call was given to remove all the trade barriers. Here we again gave them a third line of credit of $4.5 billion. Now, with the credits we had given them earlier, now the numbers is almost about $8 billion line of credit we have given to them. Now, both these governments also appreciated that during the visit, Indian private sector signed agreements that will result over $9 billion in Bangladesh, investments over $9 billion over there. At the same time, they expressed optimism that the SEZs that Bangladesh is creating over their side will bring in more such investments, and that's why both the PMs directed their officials to set up the Indian SEZ quickly on the identified locations. Already 1,005 acres have been assigned at Mirsarai for setting up an Indian SEZ. Apart from that, both these governments also talked about having more border hearts in and across the border. And for this, they decided that more border hearts be created than the earlier four. So both the prime ministers stressed on that too. Apart from that, Bangladesh drew attention to the recent imposition of anti-dumping duties that have been put by Indian authorities on export of jute from Bangladesh. Now we have to understand, Bangladesh is one of the biggest producers of jute, and when we put some anti-dumping duties on the thing that they are producing most, it hurts the trade sentiments across the border. And finally, India also asked Bangladesh to do away with the regime of minimum import price they have put in case of certain products that are being imported from our side. So overall, both these countries understand that there is need to improve market access. There is need to remove barriers to trade. There is need to improve or almost do away with the port restrictions that they have put at different places. And finally, they understand that there should be smooth movement of goods across the borders to help the trade sentiments from both the sides. But in spite of everything that happened, there is a big issue when it comes to trade, and that's with regards to the trade deficit. Now, this trade deficit is on the side of Bangladesh. Now, the thing is, though the volume of trade is 7 billion, expected to be, 10 billion in few years, but out of the 7 billion, only 600 million is from Bangladesh side. That is 6,400 from our side and only 600 from their side. And this trade deficit, lopsided development, and also creates this environment in Bangladesh where people think that any sort of facilities that are being given to India as far as trade is concerned is only going to benefit India. So India has to think of some way to narrow this gap. And one of the methods would be that our people invest over there, SEZs are being created, our businessmen go there and bring in a lot of FDI for Bangladesh. As India has already planned to invest more in Bangladesh, and this needs to be speeded up. Now, here we have to understand that the things that Bangladesh exports and the sector where they are very good is apparel. Unfortunately, as far as this sector is concerned, India is also one of the very prominent players, and that's why in this sector they cannot export a lot to India. And that's why this trade deficit in the long run is also going to continue. And for that, India has devised a few methods through which this can be, brought down. Apart from this, I have already said that there is a growing feeling in Bangladesh that this trade, when it grows, only helps India. But if we can take care of this trade deficit issue, there is a lot of opportunity for the businessmen from both the sides. Now, apart from this, this border is used for smuggling livestock. At the same time, a lot of human trafficking is done here. Then food items, medicines and drugs from India is being, smuggled through this route. Apart from this, the issue of illegal migrants. Now, about this, we can easily say with the signing of the land boundary agreement, this should come down. At the same time, with Bangladesh progressing, there should be a lot of people who are coming on this side through Assam or Meghalaya or West Bengal shouldn't come here because they'll get a lot of opportunities over there. But at the same time, these illegal migrants are a concern with regards to India for the internal security. We have seen that in the border state of West Bengal, there have been a few incidents where the people who were the culprits were the people from Bangladesh. So overall, security concern is definitely an issue. But at the same time, in the last few years, from 2009 onwards, from where Madam Sheikh Hasina Wajid became the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, a lot of our concerns have been taken care of. Both the sides had a lot of cooperation with regards to this, and they have understood that these people who are, creating issues as far as India is concerned are the same people who create a lot of issues with regards to Bangladesh also. So there is this thing that's going on. But at the same time, at times we have to go for some controversial policies like shoot on sight policy that our border patrol have adopted to curb this whole thing. Now, this is not easy, it is controversial, but to not allow these illegal immigrants to come to India, we have to do it at some times. Apart from this, another issue where both the PMs had a very fruitful meeting where they talked about a lot to bring that for the greater integration and the greater progress of people of both the countries was with regards to power sector. Now, already both these countries have had cooperations, and some 600 megawatt of electricity is being given to Bangladesh from two sources. Now, the two existing interconnections are Behramar and Behrampur. From here, some 500 megawatt is being given to Bangladesh, and another is Tripura, South Komila, from where 100 megawatt of energy is being given to Bangladesh. Now, Tripura is one of the states in our country which has become energy surplus, and now we are exporting a lot of energy to Bangladesh. Now, both these countries are having cooperation to increase the energy efficiency, mainly because Bangladesh has a goal to achieve the all-round sustainable development by the year 2021, and for that, power is a requirement to give a positive momentum to that. So as far as India is concerned, we also want to get power to almost all those few villages that are now not got the power. We want that to be done as soon as possible. Now, Madam Hasina showed her happiness with regards to that, and they want some more 60 megawatt of power from Tripura again. With regards to this, we have to understand that these interconnections are good, but apart from that, a bigger round of talks happened with regards to the power corridor. Now, we have to understand here that both India and Bangladesh are two energy deficient countries. Now in India, Northeast has got power surplus. At the same time, we have two neighbors in the form of Bhutan and Nepal who have got a lot of power. They are power rich. So now what happens is from Northeast, we are trying to have connections from Arunachal Pradesh to Assam, and from Assam via Bangladesh to West Bengal to Bihar. So we have devised a route by which from Bornagar, Assam to Parbatipur in Bangladesh and finally in Katihar of Bihar, there would be power evacuation facilities. Now, whatever the power would be evacuated, out of that some 1000 megawatt would be given to Bangladesh to allow us to pass these power from these places. At the same time, we have to understand states like West Bengal, Bihar, which are power deficit states, would get a lot of power from Northeast and it will help them. And Bangladesh, through this 1000 megawatt for helping us with this, will have the suitable tapping points at Parbatipur in their country. Now, both these countries are achieving for sub-regional cooperation through areas of power, water, resources, trade, transit, connectivity for mutual benefit. Now, already, not only these two countries, but Bangladesh wants even Bhutan and Nepal to be in that. So one of the agreements they have already signed is a trilateral agreement between Bangladesh, Bhutan and India for hydroelectric power to get that to all these countries. At the same time, Bangladesh also wants that Nepal should be brought into that so that power cooperation happens with Nepal too. At the same time, not happy with only this much of power being transferred. There is already talks that there can be some 340 megawatt more can be supplied from various NTPC stations. See, this was all with regards to power. Apart from that also, both these countries are having energy cooperations with regards to fields of like high speed diesel, then natural gas, LPG. Now for these all also we are having say transboundary pipelines. So we are having discussions for these two. Then already there are MOUs which were signed this year between Petro Bangla and Petronet for the setting up of one regasification LNG terminal. Regasification LNG terminal in one of their islands which is known as Kutubdia. Now, both these countries understand that sustainable and renewable energy has to be developed, and for that they are doing a lot of things. They are having grid connectivities in different portions of theirs, and at the same time they are having different surveys going on at different portions for earth sciences by Geological Survey of India as well as Geological Survey of Bangladesh. Apart from this, another area where these two countries have cooperated very closely and 3 agreements were signed this year, where one on cooperation in peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Now we understand India has got a lot of expertise with regards to this sector, and we want to share our expertise with Bangladesh on regards to peaceful uses also. Apart from this, 2 more small agreements were signed this year, which were with regards to arrangement between the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board and Bangladesh Atomic Energy Regulatory Authority for the exchange of technical information and cooperation in the regulation of nuclear safety and radiation protection. And one more agreement between Global Center for Nuclear Energy Partnership and Bangladesh Atomic Energy Commission. Now, remember this. Even if you forgot these two, these were the minor two agreements out of the 22, but do remember that we have already signed some cooperation agreement for peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Now, it's very clear from all the discussions that we have done till now that these two countries are friends, at least at home. But at the same time, I would like to emphasize here that they are not only friends at home, they are partners in the region, they are partners in the world, and that we will show you in this. Now, you can see all these sub-regional groupings. Now, you know about SAARC, you know about BIMSTEC, IRA is there, Commonwealth is there. Both these countries, Bangladesh and India, are members in all these. Now, when it comes to, for example, SAARC, recently Bangladesh signed that they are on board with regards to South. Now, earlier this was known as SAARC satellite. Our Prime Minister had proposed it, had given it as a gift to SAARC countries, but unfortunately, because of the fact that Pakistan didn't accept it, we had to rename it because they were not there. That's why we renamed it as South Asia Satellite Project, which will help for the development of the region through application of space technology. At the same time, it will help in taking care of disaster management, which almost all of the countries of this region are prone to. And that's why Bangladesh came on board of this. At the same time, they asked to cooperate with regards to outer space technologies. Not only this, but even last year, when fed up with the constant interventions of Pakistan in the internal affairs of India, we said that we are going to boycott the summit that was to happen in Kathmandu. It was Bangladesh also which supported our contention. They supported and they also boycotted that. So with regards to SAARC, you can see we are cooperating and coordinating so closely. At the same time, with regards to BIMSTEC, last year in Goa, we had a BIMSTEC BRICS Outreach Summit. At the same time, we also had BIMSTEC Leaders Retreat over there. Now, in BIMSTEC also, both these countries are cooperating very closely, and especially because of the fact that India and Bangladesh, they both have the same commitment with regards to regional cooperation, with regards to trade, with regards to connectivity, with regards to energy, with regards to counter-terrorism, and all these were shared under the BIMSTEC framework. Now, apart from this, both these countries are very important, and Bangladesh is very important for us from the understanding of our Look East policy, which is now Act East policy. Now, Bangladesh being a very important segment of this whole policy, it becomes very important for us. Now, also we can see that BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal on water resources management and power hydropower on trade transit connectivity agreements were signed. Now the thing is, again we wanted to do it under SAARC. Because of the fact that Pakistan didn't sign it, we had to sign this with the 4 other constituents of SAARC, and under BBIN we are already having agreements to have management of water resources and to have management with regards to hydropower and with regards to trade, transit and connectivity. Overall, it shouldn't appear that it's only we who are doing a lot. Even Bangladesh transferred internet broadband connectivity from Cox's Bazar to Tripura and northeastern region of India to bring, vital aspects of development over those regions. Apart from this, if you look, even in global bodies like UN, in UN peacekeeping forces operations, both these countries have commonality. They both give the largest number of personnel when it comes to these, and Bangladesh supports India's candidature to permanent membership of expanded and reformed UNSC. So you can see even at international forums, they both are together. Now, even in climate change, both being a developing country, both being suffering from same sort of disasters, they both were together when the Paris Agreement was signed, and commitment was given to work towards equitable rules for successful implementation of this under common but differentiated responsibility. CBDR. Now, both the sides were also happy, especially Bangladesh, because Bangladesh joined the International Solar Alliance that was proposed by India in Paris climate change talks. And India thanked Bangladesh for joining this. You have already studied about Solar Alliance, all the countries between Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, almost about 121 countries, signing this and becoming a part of this to follow the rules led by the Paris Agreement and to achieve the targets that were set under that. Now, apart from this, a lot of people-to-people contacts are happening, not only at the highest level. Madam came, Sheikh Hasina Wajid came, she invited our Prime Minister again. We saw 4 visits after almost in the last 6 years. But even at the closest level, at people-to-people connects are also happening between these two countries. Now, already 2018 is to be celebrated as Year of India in Bangladesh, and 2019 as Year of Bangladesh in India. At the same time, both decided to celebrate the 50th anniversary of liberation of war of Bangladesh in 2021 and 75th anniversary of India's independence in 2022. Apart from that, strengthening of diplomatic and consular presence is happening across both the countries. They are upgrading their Bangladesh visa office in Agartala. At the same time, they are establishing Assistant High Commissioner in Guwahati. India is establishing Assistant High Commissions in Khulna and Sylhet by this year. So many things are happening so that, this people-to-people contact can grow. Of course, we have to understand that India is doing a very good when it comes to medical tourism, and there would be a lot of people who would like to come to this side and get the benefits out of these. So finally, if we conclude this whole thing about this visit of Madam Hasina Wajid to India, what we understand is, we'll go according to what she said. When she was asked by the media, she